Good morning, good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L. Method International, and P.I.L. stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. Oh my goodness, this show is going to be off the chain because people are throwing their money away. Sinking funds are not thinking funds. And listen, does anybody know what a sinking fund actually is? It is a way to it is common. Dave Ramsey teaches it. And listen, if you go on YouTube and write the term sinking funds, you will see thousands of videos. I mean, literally thousands of videos that talk about this idea of putting money away in segments. Like I have a sinking fund just in case my appliances break down. I've got cash sitting over here. They'll put it in envelopes or they'll put it in a separate bank account. And then they have a sinking fund just in case the car breaks down. They've got a sinking fund for this thing. They got a sinking fund for that thing. Listen, I've seen people with like 10 or 20 sinking funds, all right, all with cash stuffed in them. And then one young lady had one sinking fund with $18,000 in it. I don't understand that. I don't. Because here's why. The most expensive money you have. People think that credit cards are expensive. All right. Oh, let me stop here because I have to say, tell Ruby that her avatar on Clubhouse, that picture is a really good picture. I like that. Okay. But what people are doing is they're saying that the reason why they're putting cash away is because somebody told them they need to that credit cards are bad. All right. I'm getting ready to shut the sound off on Clubhouse. You guys need to come on over to YouTube and hear the rest. I will tell you this though. My everyday card, my emergency card is a debit card. I never, ever use my debit card except for emergencies. My everyday cards are credit cards. Don't cut up your credit cards. Learn how to leverage money for emergencies. And I'm going to give you a good example. I'm going to give you a good example of that. Okay, here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let me, I just can't wait to show you this first example here. This first example. And you are going to absolutely love it. All right. This first example. There we go. And all right. So let me get this on the screen here. All right, here we go. Brett Whistle. I was sitting in the office. I was sitting in the office of a young man. Okay. He was a junior vice president of this bank. And he makes good money. You know what he said to me? He says, we're followers of Dave Ramsey, and we're going to put away six. I see you, Yannicka. I see you. So we're going to put that link there, Yannicka. If you ever want to come on stage with us and participate, you don't have to have your video on. You can just have audio, but come on in and participate with us. All right. Yannicka is in France, ladies and gentlemen. And she is in real estate and a powerful person in her own right when it comes to making money. All right. And leveraging. So here's what I told this young man. So he's telling me I need to put away at least 6 months worth of money back just in case something happens. I need to have 6 months of savings set up so I can pay my bills. All right. 6 months of savings. And so I said, now Um, would you spend $80,000? Would you spend $80,000 just to save $5,000? Okay, because see, he had a at the time he had a $400,000 mortgage at 4% at that time. I said, would you spend $80,000 in order to save $5,000? Because he's trying to put away $36,000 in the bank. And he was almost done. All right. He almost had that $36,000 saved up. And he was very proud of the fact that he had that cash sitting in the bank. All right. Let me show you something here. All right. So he's got a $400,000 mortgage, right? 400,000, not 4 million, 400,000. Come on, Don. At 4% for 30 years. Here's what his mortgage looks like. All right. And let's get rid of this advertising. I don't want to be distracted with the advertising. There we go. All right. 400,000. All right. Here's his payment. His payment is $1,909.66. Okay. And so here's what he's looking at. So he says, well, what do you mean? Of course, I wouldn't want to spend $80,000 just to save $5,000. That makes no sense to me. I said, but that's what you're getting ready to do. He says, what do you mean? I said, now you have $36,000. And I said, what if you took that $36,000? I said, you've got this mortgage, right? Listen, we pulled all this up on his computer in the bank. Okay. I'm sitting in his office. And I said, if you prepay money on your mortgage, do you know how much money in interest you save? He says, I know. I save money, but do you know how much? Do you know how much money you save? He said, no, not really. And this guy is a VP in the bank. Here's what I'm trying to tell you, folks. People who work in the bank don't understand how a mortgage works. They've never been taught. It's not part of their training. The amortized mortgage has been in the United States since 1936. 1936, and virtually no information has been taught about it. And we've been taught that cash is king and credit is evil. Oh, watch this. So here's what I need to give you just a little taste of what happens when you prepay. So if I gave this banker $500, so look at this. His first principal payment is $576.33. Okay, $576.33. And look how much goes to interest out of that payment. $1333.33. That's a lot of money. But if he makes this payment, all right, his number one payment, and then this $578.25 on line two, if he prepays that in the same month as he makes his regular payment, then he's paid down to line two on his amortization schedule, and his next mortgage payment is on line three. So he gets rid of one whole line on his amortization schedule, not for the $1,900 that the bank wants him to pay, but he got rid of line two on his amortization schedule for only $578.25. He's compressing the amortization schedule. He turns 360 monthly payments into 359 monthly payments with just a little bit of that money he's got sitting in his bank account, making 0.1%. My goodness, $578 got rid of one line. And what happened to this interest on line two? He never has to pay that. He just saved $1,300 by giving this money to the bank when he chooses to. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, with that in mind, I need to show you what happens if he were to take that $36,000 and apply it to this mortgage. What if he were to do that? I need you to take a look at cumulative principal here, because this thing adds it all up for you. Here's why we don't understand. This is why people use sinking funds. This is why people don't use credit cards. This is why people don't understand credit, because they don't know how expensive it can be, and they don't know how inexpensive it can be. Uh-oh. We don't know how inexpensive credit can be. Let me show you how inexpensive it can be. So if he takes his $36,000, takes it out of the bank, puts it on principal, makes his very first payment, and puts it on principal, because this line adds up all the principal payments. Let's go down to $36,000. Okay, 36,000, right about here. Okay, 36,000. Oh, you know what? His interest rate was not 4%. His interest rate was 4.5. I messed that. Listen, I'm messing up the whole story. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start over. Okay, there it is. 4.5%. Here's his payment, $2,026. There it is. That's where it is, $2,026. And so now he's going to put that $36,000 sitting in the bank making 1/10 of 1%. He puts it on this loan, all right? And he scrolls down. We're going to see 36,000. 36,000 takes us right about here. Look at that. 36,000 knocks off 5 years off his mortgage. If he puts that $36,000 on his mortgage, it knocks off 5 years, and look at the interest savings. $87,000. What? $87,000. Listen, if you're listening to this, I need you to put something in the chat right now. Okay? Come listen, come to the stage. All right. There's a link right there for you. Go to that link, follow the instructions, and come in and have this conversation with me today, because people are throwing away money. You might as well be burning that money up. He's got $36,000 in the bank making 1/10 of 1%. Do you know how many pennies the bank is going to pay him for that money? Just a few pennies. But if he took that money and put it on his mortgage, it knocks off 5 years off his mortgage and saves him $87,000. And he says, well, Don, if I take that money and put it on my mortgage, you see, one of the worst offenders of sinking funds is putting cash away for emergencies. Listen, I use credit for emergencies because it's cheaper. Credit for your money should always be working. Your money should not be sitting around waiting for something to go wrong. Your money should be working. Here's what I'm trying to tell you, and get this straight, everybody. I'm not saying use credit if you don't have money. The only way you use credit is if you have the money. I have money in investments. My money is in investments. I can pull it out anytime I want if I need it to. If I had if I have a loan or credit, a credit card, and I wanted to pay it off, I could pay it off any time I want. But I'm doing the math here. I'm doing the math. If I have my money working and I know how much interest I'm making while that money is working, then, and I also know how much interest I'm saving by using the bank's money in the way that I should use it, okay? Then if my effective interest rate, by understanding how an amortization schedule actually works, if my effective interest rate, meaning how much interest I will actually pay, not the interest that the bank wants, but how much interest I will actually pay, if I can get my effective interest rate down to 1% or less, why am I paying cash for anything? Oh, my goodness, because I can take my cash and I can make way more interest than 0.76%. You know, some of my clients, you know, all right. Okay. So Helen says, wow, but what if he gets laid off his job? We went over that, Helen. That's a very good question. I wish you'd come to the stage. Come on. So what if he gets laid off his job? I was waiting for somebody to ask that question because I was getting ready to ask it myself. But since you asked it, here's what happened. I said, what happens now? He says, what happens if I get laid off my job? Okay. Listen, he's a professional. He's got a college degree, and his college degree is very marketable. If he's out of work, he won't be out of work long. But what if he says, what if we do this? I said, now, if you pay $36,000 here on your mortgage, I said, can you get a line of credit for $36,000? He said, I work at the bank. I can get what's called a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. I can get a HELOC for more than that because I have equity in my house. Okay. I can get way more than that. I said, well, what if you did get that line of credit? All right. So you've got this line of credit. Let's say you have a line of credit for $50,000. He's got a line of credit for $50,000. I said, how much is that line of credit costing you? You know what he said? If I'm not using it, it doesn't cost me a dime. What? You got $50,000 sitting on the sideline that doesn't cost you anything that you can use anytime you want? He says, well, yeah, if I get that line of credit. I said, well, then why don't you do that instead of keeping $36,000 sitting in a bank making 0.1%? Are you hearing me, Helen? Putting $36,000 in the bank, letting it sit there, and it's worse. Listen, your money sitting in the bank doesn't even keep up with inflation. Inflation is at 2, 3, 4%. So every day your money sits in the bank, it is worth less. Every day it sits in the bank, it's worth less because the interest you're gaining doesn't keep up with the inflation that's eating up your money. Your money is worth less every single day. So if you keep that money in the bank every day, it's worth less until it's worthless. Are you hearing me? Every day it's worth less until it becomes worthless. So take that money out and put it to work. No lazy money. So now he's got $50,000 ready to go. He could take his $36,000, put it on his mortgage, knock off 5 years, and save $87,000. But he says, well, what if I get laid off? I said, now you borrow that money. What? Now you borrow the money to get you through the tough times. And if you have to borrow every dime of $36,000, let me show you what happens. Because what we're hearing, ladies and gentlemen, is that borrowing money is bad because we don't want to pay interest. Well, doggone it. If you've got this mortgage and you ignore it for 5 years and you just make minimum payments, look how much interest is costing you not to take that money and put it to work on this mortgage. $87,000 in 5 years. Isn't that crazy? So he takes his money. All right, let me pull up another Brett Whistle here. All right, you guys need to do this on your own. Listen, I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy it. All right, we're going to paste it for you here. Boom. So you can do this on your own. All right. So now what we're doing, all right, is 36,000. So it's okay. I used all 36,000 and then I went back to work. But Don, I got to pay that money back. Yes, you do. All right. What for a loan like this, for a personal loan like this, what is your bank charging you at the time? He said about 6%, about 6%. Now, it didn't take him long to save up that money. It doesn't take him long to save up that money. All right. But let's give him 5 years if he has to use all $36,000, let's give him 5 years. Let's give him 60 months to pay it back. Okay. Let me show you something here. All right. So if we put in 5 years, 60 months at 6%, here's what his payment would be. $695.98. He can make that payment standing on his head. Okay, so watch this. What is the total cost of borrowing this money? $36,000, all right, to cover him. He borrowed it to get him through a tough time. Now he's back to work. What is the total cost of that? Ooh, total interest paid. That's if he makes every minimum payment for 5 years, but he won't. It won't. Listen, this won't even cost him $5,000. $5,758.80. That's how much it cost to borrow $36,000. And what he was trying to do was keep from borrowing money so he wouldn't have to pay interest. People like Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, and whoever is teaching this, saying borrowing money is bad, when what we're talking about is leveraging somebody else's cash and paying them pennies on the dollar for the use of it. Oh my goodness. You better start sharing this to everybody you know. Share this video with everybody you know, because sinking funds are not thinking funds. We're trying to teach people how to think here, ladies and gentlemen, how to think about your money. So let's break this all the way down. What just happened here? If he borrows the money, he's going to cost him $5,000. If he takes his money and puts it on the $36,000 and puts it on the mortgage, he knocks off 5 years off his mortgage and saves $87,000 in interest. Now, because he has this line of credit, guess what? He may never have to use it. He may never. Most people who have sinking funds, especially emergency funds with 6 to 10, maybe even 12 months worth of cash sitting around, most of them will never, ever use it. And the longer that money stays in the bank, not working, you have to count how much money that money is not making by investing it in mutual funds, in real estate, even in cash value, permanent insurance. There's many ways you can take that money and invest it and make a lot of money with it instead of sitting it in, somehow feeling confident that I have 6 to 12 months of cash sitting in the bank just in case I lose my job. Most of you who are doing that will never, ever use that money. Some of you are listening to this and saw the thing sinking funds and says, oh, here's another video on sinking funds. Let me see what Don Daniel has to say about it. Let's see what the P.I.L.L method has to say about sinking funds. Most of you have had that money sitting there for years and never had to use it because somebody told you credit cards were bad. So now, here's the story. He says, this is what I said. Would you spend $87,000 in order to save $5,000? Because if he takes that cash and puts it in the bank, he's putting it in the bank so he doesn't have to pay interest on borrowing the money for an emergency, but the most it's going to cost him is $5,700. So this is why I asked him, would you spend $87,000 in order to save $5,000? Ladies and gentlemen, put it in the chat. Put some fire emojis in the chat. If you like this example, give me some sign that you like this example. All right. You can even hit the super chat and put a little something in there just in case. Yeah, listen, put $1 or something in there. So I like this information. This information is going to save me thousands of dollars. Listen, let me know that you like this. Yannicka says she liked it. All right. All the way in France. If we knew what was going on here, ladies and gentlemen, we would do much better with our money. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look. Let me bring up my notes here because, there we go. Sinking funds. The worst thing you could do is leverage credit cards. It says, Don, listen, I've got a credit card, and I've got a $10,000 emergency, We're going to keep using this 300 this mortgage here of $400,000 as our example. Okay, $400,000 mortgage. All right, I've got an emergency that's $10,000. And listen, Don, I don't have cheap credit cards. I have expensive credit cards. I listen, my credit card is 27%. 27%. Let's put that in there. $10,000, 27%. Every guru I know would tell you that $10,000 credit card is killing you. Okay. If you're using Brett Whistle here, and you're trying to figure out how much interest you pay on a credit card, here's what you do. You put 240 payments in here. Put 240 payments in because all credit cards are amortized over 240 months. That's the amortization formula that they use, 240 months. So if you have cash sitting around, then somebody's going to tell you, you need to pay that 27% credit card off and cut it. Look, do I have some? Let me see here. Credit cards. Okay. I keep just a little bit of cash, but I keep some cards around. Okay. I keep some credit cards around. Then somebody's going to say, pay the card off and cut it up. Don't cut up your credit card. Stop that. Stop the madness. Stop the madness. Stop cutting up your credit cards. Okay. Learn how to use credit cards to your advantage. So, Don, 27% credit card. So if you paid this card off today, I'm going to take my credit card and I'm going to fix my $10,000 emergency with my 27% credit card. Yeah. And look what it's going to do. All right. If I paid off, all right, watch this. Okay. Here is how much interest I would pay on that credit card after when they start charging me interest, because for the first 30 days it doesn't cost me anything. Yeah. So do you know the best way to use a credit card? Okay. There's a thing called the statement date or closing date. If I have a large purchase I need to make, and I need to make it in the month of February, and my closing date on my credit card, they close it on February 9, which means everything I charge up to February 9, they're going to calculate how much interest I owe on that, and it's going to show up in my March bill. Okay? It's going to show up in my March bill. So if I put my $10,000 emergency, if I got $10,000 and says, listen, whoever I'm talking to, I'll pay you tomorrow. And they'll say, yeah, no problem. No problem. I'll pay you tomorrow. The reason why is because if I charge $10,000 on February 10 instead of February 9, that money won't show up on my credit card statement in March. It won't show up until April when I make my payment on April 30. My payment is due at the end of the month. So I get to use the bank's money from February 10, all right, February 10, all the way through March. And then I make my payment in April, at the end of April. So if I pay that thing off before the end of April, I don't owe any money, any interest. From February 10 to April 30, zero interest. Are you hearing me, everybody? Come on. Learn the rules. Play the game by the rules. So now, even if I do pay interest, guess what happens? Guess how much interest I will pay on that $10,000? $225. Interest on 27%. You see, we are reacting to the words 27%. What we're not reacting to is how much interest that's actually costing us in dollars and cents. How much interest is it really costing you? 27%. No, it's not. It's $225. So if I pay this card off before they can charge me interest, I save $225. And do you know I've got people talking to me all the time saying, Don, I never pay credit card interest, and they're proud of that fact. But they're making them payment on their mortgage every single month. If they take that $10,000 and put it on this mortgage, let me show you what happens. $10,000 applied to this mortgage knocks off 19 months off the mortgage and saves $28,000 in interest. Folks, somebody is selling us a bill of goods. Somebody is teaching us the wrong way. Let me tell you something. The reason why most of us have debt hanging around forever, it is not because we've been irresponsible. It is because we've been following the advice of financial gurus for way too long. It's not your fault. You're not in financial, you don't have this this debt hanging around your neck forever because you've been irresponsible. It is because most of you have that debt hanging around because you've listened to what is called best practices from financial gurus. And do you know where they learn that best practices from? Guess who puts out most of the information on financial literacy? Guess who's behind it? Yeah, you got it. The banking system puts out most of the information about how to handle money. They just don't have their name on it. Do you know right now, if you went down to your local big bank, all right, with like a Chase or a Wells Fargo or a Citibank, and you're a teacher in economics, a high school teacher in economics, do you know you can request free information you can use? I mean, they'll give you boxes of it for free to hand out to your students, teaching them financial literacy. Listen, ask them if they have it. Ask them, try it today. Ask them if they have literature printed up so that you can use it in a classroom. They'll say, sure, come and get it. It's free. That's where most of this information comes from. It comes from banking. And if you're watching this and you're seeing that if I take the money, my cash out of my investment and pay off a $10,000 credit card in order to save $225, when I could take this same money and pay off and eliminate 19 mortgage payments and save $28,000. Who's teaching that except the P.I.L.L method? Who's teaching that except the P.I.L.L method? Have you ever seen this before? Put a yes or a no. This example here today, have you seen this before? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Come to the stage. Come to the stage. Come to the studio audience. We would love to talk to you here and answer your questions. Or listen, put your question in the chat. All right? Put it in the comment section. Listen, what else do we want to talk about idea? Listen, the idea that cash is king is a false idea. All right? Let me see. Kim says no. They haven't heard that before. Yannicka says no. Nobody's teaching this. Nobody's teaching it. The idea that cash is king is a false idea. Setting money, sinking funds. Setting money in the bank when I could borrow that money so cheaply. I never knew how cheap it was. The reason why we have people out here that are talking about cut up your credit cards is because nobody is teaching how to use the credit cards correctly. If you want to use, if does anybody want to know how to use a credit card correctly? Do you want to know? Put a yes if you want to know how to use credit cards correctly in a way, that will save and make you money. You borrow money to make money. You borrow money to make money. Okay? You know how I know you borrow money to make money? Who's the biggest borrower in your town? Who borrows more money than anybody in your town? I need somebody to tell me. Who borrows more money than anybody in your town? Can you tell me? Who borrows more money than anybody in your town? My producer has it. My producer has it right. All right. Anybody else? Put some. Ah, there you go. There it is. I see it. Come on, Wilson. The bank. Your banks borrow more money than anybody in your town. What do they do with that borrowed money, ladies and gentlemen? What do banks do with that borrowed money? What do they do with that? They lend it out and they make big money with that money. They leverage that money. They use money to make money, but they use borrowed money to make money. Listen, Wilson says they invest it. They invest that money. They invest it in credit cards. They invest it in how and people's mortgages. They invest it. They invest it. They invest it. They make money with our money. And what do they pay us? What do they pay us, the depositors? What do they pay us for the use of that money? Come on, tell me somebody. Pennies on the dollar. Pennies. Kim says pennies. Pennies. They make tens, hundreds, millions, trillions of dollars with our money. This is why banks are set up all over the country. Oh my goodness. Ruby had it again. Okay. Ruby had it again. Pennies. Pennies. So, ladies and gentlemen, why can't we do the same thing? Have you ever learned that success leaves footprints? Then why aren't we taking a page out of the bank's book? Why are we listening to them tell us that credit card interest is so evil that we need to pay off our credit cards early, but leave their mortgage interest alone and ignore the mortgage interest? They don't tell us anything about how to save mortgage interest. Look at this. $10,000 here saves $28,000. You know, can I show you just a little bit of math? Just a little bit of math on this mortgage. Okay. This is a 4.5% mortgage. Mortgages right now are 7%. So, if we put our credit, if we put a calculator on the screen right now, okay, let me do that. Put my calculator on the screen. If I prepay this $528.72, I save $1,498.02 in interest I never have to pay. So what is my return on investment? You see, the bank wants us to put money in the bank. And listen, they call it, they have some high interest yielding savings accounts. Okay. You could get 2%. You could get 3%. Some of you could even get up to 4% in some banks, maybe even 5%. All right. If you search hard and long, maybe you can get 3 to 5%. But you have to have like $100,000 in the bank to get that kind of interest rate on your money. Do you know why the banks want you to deposit any kind of money in their bank? Here's why. Because they can lend out $10 for every dollar they have on deposit. $1 equals 10 in their math, and it's legal to do. Okay, if they have 10,000 of your dollars, based on your $10,000, they can lend out $100,000. Yeah, that's why banking exists, taking our money so that they can make money with it. Listen, you thought that they took your $10,000 and loaned it out. No. They took your $10,000 and they loaned out $100,000 they don't even have. That is, oh, come on, Helen, I don't mean to step on your toes, sweetie. That wasn't my intention. I just want to tell you the truth of what's going on, so you can take your $10,000 and invest it so it could do what it needs to do. So let me show you what happens here. So if I can save $1,498.02, I'm going to take $1,498.02. Look at that. Look at that. And I'm going to invest. How much am I going to invest? $528.72 early. So I'm going to invest it. So I'm going to divide it by $528.72. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. And then when I get the answer, I'm going to multiply it by 100. Okay. This is how you figure ROI. You can look it up on YouTube. That's how I learned it. I looked at, on Google. I Googled ROI. How do I figure ROI? And this is how I learned how to do it. So I click equal, and then I multiply it by 100. There we go. There it is. 277% return on my money. 277% return on my money. Why in the world would I set my money in the bank to make pennies when if I have a mortgage, I can invest a little bit of money and get the equivalent of a 277% return because of the $1,498 I will not pay? We are too focused. This idea of sinking funds, ladies and gentlemen, keeps us focused in the wrong area. We're focused on how much we're paying. We're focused on hearing interest rates. We're focused on not paying interest on our credit cards and loans. We're focused on the wrong thing. We should be focused on what the bank is doing. What is the bank doing? The bank is borrowing our money, investing our money, making big money with our money, and then paying us pennies on the dollar for the use of our money. Why aren't we doing the same thing? Why aren't we learning? How come the experts are not teaching? Listen, if borrowing money were bad, every bank in your town would be shut up, boarded up, because borrowing doesn't work. Tell that to the bank where you have your money right now, where you get your direct deposit. Your money is direct deposited in your bank right now. Why? Because for every direct deposit, they get 10 times the deposit to lend out to somebody else. One of the biggest frauds, another big sinking fund is that you don't even think about. Here's a sinking fund you never think about. When you pay your mortgage, do you include your taxes and insurance in your mortgage payment? It's called escrow. Escrow accounts are sinking funds. Escrow accounts are sinking funds. So when you pay your mortgage, all right, then part of that money goes directly into a sinking fund over here. and they pay your taxes and insurance for you once a year. And if your taxes or your insurance goes up, you're going to get a letter in the mail that says you have an escrow account deficiency. You need to make up the deficient payment, and you take more money and sit it in the bank so they can pay your taxes and insurance. You know what's worse? The worst thing is that they treat it like that escrow account. They treat it like they're doing you a favor by paying your taxes and insurance for you. Do you realize it's just a savings account that pays no interest at all? At least in the other ones, you're getting pennies. In this one, you get nothing. Zero. Do you know how many mortgages there are in your town, in your city, in your state? Do you know how much money is just sitting in the bank in escrow accounts, making absolutely no interest so that the banks can lend out 10 times the money that's sitting in their banks? Sinking funds are not thinking funds, meaning they don't want you to think on how you can use your money better. Just sit it here, sit it in the bank, and not put it to good use. Do you know all the money you're setting in sinking funds? Do you know what the real problem is? The real problem is I need you to go ahead. You need to do this math yourself. Talk to if you have a financial planner, if you have a financial planner, talk to your financial planner and say, listen, this is how much I'm putting in my sinking funds every month. How much is that you're putting away each month in a sinking fund for vacations, for Christmas clubs, for your car, your eventual car repair, if your something happens, breaks at the house, whatever, you're putting money away, and you have a certain amount that you're putting away every month. Take that money and say, listen, talk to anybody that says, don't tell them why you're doing it, but count it all up and says, what if I put this in some sort of investment? How much money will that make for me in 20 years? You will fall over out of your chair. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why sinking funds are not thinking funds is because of the millions of dollars you will not make because you didn't invest that money. You had it sitting in the bank for an eventuality that may never happen. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, how do I borrow money? How do I borrow money? How do I borrow money so that it does what I need it to do? Well, I tell you what. Let me tell you something. I need to show you something where listen. We did a seminar in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, it was huge. We had 17 different speakers. We talked about how to make money. I need you to watch this video. All right. All right. It's going to take about 2 minutes, but we're going to take about 2 minutes of your time. I need you to watch this video and see and give you some insight into what you can do with your money. Watch this.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you know who that was? That was E.T., the hip hop preacher, Dr. Eric Thomas, using P.I.L.L method strategies to pay off his mortgage. You would think, why would a rich person need information on how to do this? Okay? Why would they need that? Why would they need that? Because you never pay cash for anything. Don't pay cash. Borrow the money, leverage that money, and then pay it back in a way that saves you a ton of money. So you want to have a way to optimize the use of your money so that you can pay the bank back in about 7 years instead of 30, and take that money that you would have paid cash for your house and invest that money. Go to ice10k.com and get a savings report. See, here's what you do, folks. You go to ice10k.com. Go to ice10k.com, scroll down. We're going to teach you how not to use sinking funds, how to use your money to leverage to gain money. Scroll down under his ET's picture here and click on get a savings and earnings report. And here's what comes up. Don't waste another dollar paying off the wrong debt. Get your free savings report. Do you want to know how to best use your money? Get a free savings report on how much money. So here's what you get. How much money you can save by not paying interest on all of your debt. How much money you can save in interest. All right. And then you're going to find out the month, day, and year you could be debt free. Did you know most of our clients are out of debt on their mortgages, their student loans, their credit cards, everything in about 7 to 9 years? 7 to 9 years out of debt. And the interest that they didn't spend for the next 30 years, we're going to show them what that money could do for you if you invest it instead. We're taking people with regular W-2 jobs and showing them how they can take that money that they didn't spend on interest and turn it into well over $1 million over the next 23 years or so. Why pay mortgages for 30 years when you could take that interest money that you didn't spend and invest it and develop your own family bank? Invest your money. Invest your money. Stop setting up these sinking funds. Well, Don, how do we take care of our emergencies? Use credit cards. And I need you to hear me clearly. Use credit cards. Use credit if you have resources. Credit is only for people who have resources. Credit is only for people who don't need it, but choose to use it wisely. Do you think banks need your money? No, they want your money. Banks make plenty of money. Why don't they invest their own money? Because your money is cheaper. They use your money and my money because it's cheaper. All right, and listen, it's just a math problem. Where can I get cheap money to invest? So, Don, but the banks, the money from the bank is not cheap. Well, it can be. It can be cheap. All right. It can be cheap if you want it to be. Can I show you how cheap it can be? Let me show you how cheap it can be. All right. Let me put some examples up here. I'm going to show you how cheap money can be when you, let me open up these three. Let me open this up. Okay. I'm going to show you something about how cheap money could be. These are, I'm putting on the screen an example of a savings and earnings report. Here's an example of a savings and earnings report. Okay. This one is just $75,000. Okay. Listen, just $75,000 for this mortgage, $21,000 in loans, $377 in credit cards, it's $98,000 in debt. $98,000 in debt. Let me show you how this works. Right now, the bank wants a total of $40,000 in interest on this debt. Okay, $40,000 in interest on this debt. We're going to show this client how to pay only $16,892 in interest or less. They're going to actually pay less than that. 16,000. The bank wants 40, but they're only going to pay 16. That's a $23,000 interest savings, $23,000 in interest savings. That's 58% reduction in interest cost. 58% reduction in interest cost by optimizing interest savings. You see, how do you handle debt? You handle debt not by throwing money at it. You handle debt by managing the interest cost, by optimizing or saving the maximum amount of interest per dollar applied to it. The maximum amount of interest. So if he does that, be able to pay off that debt not in 27.9 years, but 8.3 years. I heard somebody the other day that paid off their house. They paid off their house. And the wife said, can we now all go on vacation? Let me tell you something. What if there was a way that you can pay off all of your debt, including your mortgage and everything else, student loans and everything, and still go on vacation? You can still set up in your budget how much money you want to spend on your family just to have some fun every single month, including going on 1 or 2 vacations a year, and still do this. Yeah, you can do this when you optimize interest savings. You see, this idea of that Dave Ramsey is talking about is to live like a pauper, take all of your cash and throw it at the bank and throw it at your debt and be out of debt in 7 to 15 years. All right, doing it that way. Listen, your kids get a bad idea about money because every time they want to do something, you're talking about how expensive it is and how they can't do it and how we need to pay off the mortgage and everything. Well, Daddy, that's your mortgage. Ain't our mortgage. Okay? They get a bad idea about money. What if you had in your budget, here's how much money we want to spend on the family as part of the budget so we can learn how to manage money correctly and still put money in savings and still get out of debt in 8.3 years instead of 27.9. That's a 19 years of savings. And take the interest money you did not pay the bank, okay, over the next 19 years. Look at that. Just the money that can and turn it into another $330,000. Add that to your retirement funds. Here's another one. Okay. This one is $630,000 for the mortgage, $38,000 in loans, and $20,000 in credit cards. Oh, let me go back because I was going to point out what the effective interest rate is. Instead of paying $40,000, the effective interest rate when you pay only $16,892, I need you to read this, you would need an interest rate of 1.08% to pay this little interest on a new 30-year loan. Look at that. You would need 1.08. Where else can you borrow money at 1.08? You can control your effective interest rate by understanding how to read and manipulate an amortization schedule. You see, we don't just use guesswork. We use an AI-powered, cloud-based computing platform. You plug all of your numbers into, and the computer, the AI tells you exactly how much money to move, what month to move it in, what day of the month to move it on, to kill the maximum amount of interest. Don't use sinking funds, ladies and gentlemen. Stop throwing your money away. Do this instead. We have computers for everything. We might as well have listen, AI has now combined with your finances. Oh my goodness. And it is so very powerful. We call our platform the opportunity cost calculator. Instead of counting opportunity cost, meaning if you spend your money this way, you can't also make money over here. So take your money, find the best opportunity, pay off your debt in 8.3 years, take that money you didn't spend on interest and turn it into $330,000. And then when you figure out how much interest you did pay, it comes out to 1.08%. Why would you pay cash for anything when I can borrow money this cheaply? Let's go to this other one. $688,000 in total interest savings. And they're not said now that the sinking funds gone, those sinking funds using credit cards, because we're going to pay these credit cards off. Boom. Okay. Go pay these credit cards off. Let me show you what's happening here. If we have 600, all right, and $30,000, $38,000 and $20,000, $688,000. When you add the interest of $320,000, that's a total of $1,008 paid back to the banks. To add insult to injury, not only are they lending out money 10 to 1, called fractional reserve lending. Not only are they lending out 10 to 1, fractional reserves and lending, they're actually lending dollars they don't have. They're just writing it into your account. It's not real money. But you sign a note to pay back real money, your blood, sweat, and tears, your hours that you work that turn into cash money. You pay them back real money plus interest on top of the fake money they loaned you, to add insult to injury. Instead of borrowing their money, and they're looking for $320,000, you give them $80,000. Okay, in this case, $240,000 interest savings. In this case, it's 75% off. How would you like to borrow money at 75% off? Instead of, Kim says criminals. Kim, you need to stop it. Kim says criminals. Come on, Kim. I love it. So listen, instead of doing that, why don't we take a page out of their book? Can you imagine having an AI-powered computing system, AI managing your finances, giving you exactly what to do and when, enjoying life, saving money, and getting out of debt? You can't beat that with a stick. 75% off. Do you know what the effective interest rate is on this one? You would need an interest rate of 0.75% to pay this little interest on a new 30-year loan. 0.75% across the board to pay this little amount of interest. Why would I ever use cash to do any of this? Cash should be used to use that to make money. Put your money to work. My money's working. My money's working right now. Okay? So put that money to work instead of using cash to pay for emergencies. Borrow the money at 0.75%. I don't care what your interest rate is. What I care about is the interest cost you end up paying. It doesn't matter what they want. What matters is what they get. They want $320,000. They don't only get $80,000 or less, $240,000 savings, and then take that money Look at wealth accumulation. All right. And over the next 19 years, they can, with the P.I.L.L method, they can take that money and turn it into $2,617,000. And ladies and gentlemen, that's not even the good part. Yes, it's compound interest, but you know what the return on investment is? This is only at 1%. $2,600,000, taking the money that the bank did not get and invest it even at 1% over the next 20 years would turn into $2 million. And that's at 1%. What if you could get the national average around 6 or 7%? Lord have mercy. When you're ready to retire, you talk about generational wealth. Here it is. Here's generational wealth. Here is laying up an inheritance for your children's children. Here's how you become the head and not the tail. The Bible says, here is how you become lenders instead of borrowers. Come on, everybody. The information is there. We can use it to set up family banks and do well financially and stop starting each generation at $0. It can stop today. It can stop now. Stop putting money in sinking funds so that your family can't do well. Turn it into $2 million. Here's another example. Here's $390,000 on the mortgage, $7,000 in loans, $18,000 in credit cards, a total of $416,000 in debt. Okay? The bank wants $163,000 in interest. They're not going to get that. I don't care what they want. What we want is for people to do well. They're only going to get $41,000 or less. And this is worst case scenario, ladies and gentlemen. They're actually going to get less than that. When you get your savings and earnings report, you may want to get your own opportunity cost calculator. When you put all your information into the opportunity cost calculator, be prepared to find out that you're going to get 12 to 20% better results than what you see when we give you this. Yeah. When the AI gets a hold of your money and says, oh no, let's do this instead of that. Let's do it this way. The most optimal way. Listen, the first part of this whole thing is to track your spending. Know how you're spending your money. Make it easy to track your money. We make it easy to track your money. And then the money that you don't need to pay bills, the money you don't need to have some fun, the money that you don't need after everything is paid for, let's see how we can put that money away and how we can optimize you getting out of debt. Let me tell you something here. Don't you ever pay cash for a house. I don't care what anybody says. Don't pay cash. Don't put a large down payment on your stuff, a house or a car. Learn how to borrow the money like a bank. Think like a bank. We should do a whole show on that, just thinking like a bank. Think like a bank. Okay? So this effective interest rate is 0.64%. 0.64%. If I can borrow money at 0.64%, why am I paying cash for anything? Why am I putting a large down payment on anything? I could take that down payment and make a lot of money with it. Okay, that's 75% discount again. Instead of 27.1 years, let's get out of debt in 7.6 or less. We could do that. Take that money, we don't give it to the bank, and turn it into $1.34 million. $1,343,230. And that's at 1% return on your money when we could average 6 or 7%. Listen, Give that money to your financial planner instead. Let them turn it into over $1 million for you. Did you know that with the P.I.L.L method, not only do you get optimized interest savings, we have financial planners on staff in house, one stop shopping for it all. Do you know next Sunday, we're going to have a guest on the show that used to own a dealership, and she is going to tell you how to negotiate. She's actually on our staff. She's going to tell you how the best way to negotiate how to get a car from the dealer. You can beat the dealer at their own game. You don't want to miss next Sunday show. Okay? You don't want to miss next Sunday show. All right? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What are we talking about this Sunday? Can we put it on the screen? What are we talking about on Sunday this week? Do we have that plan? Oh, destroy IRS debt. Oh, how many of you have IRS debt? We're going to show you the best way to handle that. Oh my gosh, you talk about criminal activity. Do you know if you have IRS debt, they're going to charge you interest plus penalties? We're going to show you how you don't have to do any of that. How you can pay back your IRS debt and not give them just a fraction of the money that they want in penalties and interest. We're going to show you how to best handle that. I'll give you a little hint. Did you know IRS takes credit cards? Oh my goodness. There's so many things we're going to go over on this Sunday about how to handle IRS debt. You don't want to miss that. You need to tell everybody. So listen, you need to go on now. Just click on that one and just say, click that notification bell. So every time we're live, you're on. And even if you can't be on live that morning, you can watch the replay. Oh man, IRS debt. Next week, we're going to be talking about how to, on next Sunday, how to get a car and beat the dealer. Oh my gosh. All the secrets. Listen, how many of you hate going to dealer? So, producers, I'm ready for it. Okay, Ruby, put in what are we talking about? What are we talking about next Friday? I've even forgot what we're talking about next Friday. What are we talking about next Friday? All right, listen. Once I get that information, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna love this show too. So next Sunday, we're bringing on somebody who used to be a dealer and going to give you all the dealer secrets. How many of you hate going to the dealer trying to negotiate for a new car? How many of you hate that? Huh? How many of you hate that? Oh man, we're going to fix it so that you can love it. Because we're going to teach you how to play the game. Not only that, but do you know we offer a service? We offer the service where we will negotiate your new car price for you while you're sitting in the dealership. Just have us on three-way phone. Just have it on. Just get out your cell phone. Okay. Have us on three-way. All right. And when our people start talking to the dealership people, we know all of their secrets. And we're going to negotiate the very best price for that new car and get it so close to MSRP, they won't know what hit them. By using yourself, this is part of the P.I.L.L method. Listen, it comes with the P.I.L.L method. Everything else, how to negotiate for your new car. Yeah, how to invest your money for the long term. That is part of the P.I.L.L method as well. Oh my goodness. I'm looking forward to the show, all right, for next Friday and next Sunday. And in a minute here, I'm going to have the show for next Friday. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to know this. I never, ever use my debit card. I use credit cards for emergencies. Don't cut up your credit cards. That's crazy. That's my credit cards are my everyday cards. Use your money to make babies. Okay. Now, oh, okay. All right. I need to fix that. Okay, let me pull that up. I need to open up the Word document. All right. And let me see here. Let me pull that up. Um what is my okay, next Friday and Sunday. I'll turn it into I'll turn it into all right, next Friday. All right. Next Friday is dealership scams. Oh, that's Friday is next. Friday is the dealership scam. Sorry. And on next Sunday, we've got listen, next Sunday, people, there is a thing out there called they're doing what is it called? They're saying never pay off a mortgage. Never pay off your mortgage. Do you know there's a whole movement on never pay off your mortgage? All right. So here's what we're going to do, Ruby. Here's what I need you to do here. All right. So boom. And there. Okay. She says she got it. All right. I was giving you the link there. All right. Never pay off your mortgages next Sunday. All right. I got that mixed up. Never pay off your mortgage. We're going to talk about those people out there that are telling you never pay off your mortgage. Invest that money instead. I'm going to show you why that is the wrong strategy. And on next Friday, wait a minute. Okay. That is wrong. That is wrong. Sunday, I got it wrong. Sunday is the car dealership. Car dealership is Sunday. And the other one is Friday. All right. The car dealership is Sunday. So I want to make sure everybody understands that. We're bringing a guest on next Sunday to talk about the car dealership. All right. Let me see if I got that wrong. Okay. Okay. That is, I think I opened up the wrong one. Anyway. So, all right. So next Friday, next Sunday is the car dealership. We're going to show people how to negotiate for their cars. And Friday is the other one. Okay. There we go. So we're clear. So that we're clear. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, we're getting ready to get out of here. I just wanted you to know how you can best handle your money. Stop using sinking funds of all kinds. Sinking funds, putting money away, putting cash away just so that you can have it for emergencies. Credit cards do a much better job. We went over the fact that your escrow account is a sinking fund. Did you know that some of you, your mortgages are set up so that you can opt out? Hold on for a second. Some of you can opt out of escrow on your mortgage. You can opt out. You don't have to have an escrow account. Some mortgages require it, but most don't, because you can save that money on your own. There's a way to get a high interest bearing account, and you can save that money on your own, and you can use that money. You can leverage it to help get you out of debt faster. Yeah. Using that money that's sitting in your escrow account, making no interest. The banks act like they're doing you a favor when in fact you're giving them the biggest gift ever. They have trillions of dollars sitting in escrow accounts, drawing no interest, and they're using that money at 10 times the dollar amount to lend out. They're using that money to make money. You can use that money yourself to save you money in interest on your loans and still pay your taxes and insurance on time. Yeah, we'll show you how to do that. Listen, this is all things people learn with the P.I.L.L method. All things they learn with the P.I.L.L method. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for being here today. All right. Thank you from wherever you are in the world. All right? Wherever you are in the world. Yannicka says, thanks for good advice. Okay? Let's take the example off the screen. I just want to make sure I can look straight into the camera here and let everybody know. There is bad information out here on how to use our money. We're not taught how to optimize money. We're not taught how to understand it the right way. We're not taught how to leverage it the right way. We're taught that cash is king and credit is evil. I need you to know that we are dedicated to make sure you understand money the right way. And sometimes, listen, I've got a video that features me, and we're going to play that at the end. Okay? We're going to play my video at the end. And we had a seminar where people came in. I need you to take a look at that. It's about 2 minutes long. And that's going to be the last thing you see before we play our theme music and get out of here for today. But make sure you watch this video. Make sure you get your savings and earnings report. Go to ice10k.com, get your savings and earnings report. It's free. There's no reason why you shouldn't know the month, day, and year you can get out of debt. And all the services that we provide. Okay? All right. All right. So what does this say? All right. Moringa. All right. Says, wow, what a great session, Don. Much appreciated. From South Africa. From South Africa. All the way from South Africa, watching this right now. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to know the truth about your money, and no one's teaching it. Do you know that how many thousands of videos are out here right now that are based in banking mythology? We are dedicated to busting these myths. That's why we're here. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. We'll be back on Sunday. We'll be back on Sunday. Let's put that up again. What we're going to be talking about Sunday, and invite other people in. Join our team. Join us. All right. We're going to be destroying IRS debt. I mean, we're just going to obliterate IRS debt. You want to be here for that. All right. So thank you for being here. Happy Sabbath to all of you who this applies. And this is preparation day. And I'll be in church tomorrow. And happy Sabbath to you all. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Invite others. All right. Join the P.I.L.L Method channel. All right. Join it. And so there's a join button and there's also a subscribe button. They're two different things. Join us and subscribe. Like the videos. Click that thumbs up. That helps us out a lot and it's free. All right. So we're going to play that video for you. I want to say goodbye. And again, you have my heartfelt appreciation for you who are sharing this information. Oh, last thing. Become an affiliate. Go to ice10k.com and become an affiliate as well. And there's a button to get my book. Can we show them? Can we show them the book? Listen, get my book because it's the only book on Amazon that teaches this idea. Okay. We give you the tools you need. It's not a how-to book. It's a book that says you need to think differently about your money and the tools you need to optimize use of your money so that you can get your mind in the right framework. All right. Get your mind right. And then you can use the tools that we talk about here on the P.I.L.L Method. All right, folks, I'm out of here. We'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye. How many want to know how to pay off all of your debt in an average of 7 to 9 years? You can do all of this without refinancing, without change to your budget, without sacrificing lifestyle.
Me and my husband do the P.I.L.L Method, and last year we were able to pay down $33,000 on our mortgage without feeling like we were poor. We still did tons of entertaining things and enjoyed our family.
You don't have to eat beans and rice every day. You don't have to cut up your credit cards. You don't have to drive a 30-year-old car. You don't have to sell pizzas at night to pay off your mortgage. All you need to do is pay the bank less interest. That's what we're talking about today. Here is what P.I.L.L method stands for: prepayment of principal, isolation of principal amounts, leverage, and liquidity. You understand it? You have a way of getting out of debt more efficiently. The interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate you pay. You think you're buying a $500,000 home. The true cost of that home is what? $758,000. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal, 51.777%. That's what's going on with this loan. The ability to read and defeat an amortization schedule is not taught at any level of financial education. I need you to understand the power of a penny. You will not hear what I'm talking about from Dave Ramsey. Do you know why? Because I own the copyright. I literally wrote the book.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.